Hello there, Andrew Duthie here, and I shall be doing a short review of my newest purchase, the WE KAC PDW. But first, a bit of background information. The Knights Armament Company PDW was an experimental personal defense weapon designed around the 6x35mm cartridge in order to provide rifle-like power in as small of a package as possible. The Airsoft version, on the other hand, is a gas blowback rifle designed and made by WETech Airsoft from Taiwan and features WE's open bolt gas system together with its own magazine, but is also completely compatible with standard WE mags like here. But first things first, the PDW features a full metal construction. I don't know what kind of metal it is other than it feels solid, weighty, and covers the entire gun from length to length. It also features safety selector and a folding stock which clips on just over here. The hop-up of this gun is actually located right up against the barrel, and unlike other WE guns, surprisingly, this requires no actual disassembly of the weapon itself. You just simply turn the dial up or down in the area surrounding the inner barrel, which I think it's fantastic. You know, other guns like the L85 or God, my PLR-16 literally require you to disassemble a gun to pieces or work at it on a really ridiculous specialized angle. This one doesn't, and I actually applaud WE for that. It allows you to adjust the hop on the fly. Fantastic. As mentioned previously, it has its own proprietary magazine, which, oddly enough, doesn't fit very well. It's a normal WE 2nd gen magazine, but you have serious difficulty jamming the damn thing inside, and it doesn't always lock. But instead, it's fully compatible and fully attachable with normal 5.56 magazines. See? Solid. So, frankly, I'm just gonna ditch this pathetic thing and try and replace it with an actual proper body, because the internals are actually identical. It's just that the outside is slightly scraping along here, which is a shame. Obviously, any talk about WE M4 system is going to have to involve discussions about their magazines. Now, these are the Gen 2 magazines, and yes, they are an absolute massive improvement of the Gen 1s, which would not stop leaking. In fact, there are more leaky ones than non-leaky ones. But these Gen 2 magazines also have their issues of their own, despite obviously leaking far less than the previous versions. Like this one. This leaks from the top valve, while this leaked from the bottom. I don't know how that could happen. Thankfully, I have about 9 magazines, so having 2 go out of action in one day wasn't really that big of a hit. But I do recommend that if you do want a WE M4 based gun, you got to buy several more mags than you actually need in case one of them fails on the day. And now, onto the gun's ergonomics. Now, the WE PDW is small, compact, and extremely tight. Absolutely perfect for CQB. You can see by the width of its body, it's an extremely narrow body, and it allows you to really sort of get in tight just for those little tight spaces. The fire selector is ambidextrous, however, and so is the magazine release. However, the bolt release is only on the right side, so you're gonna have to look out for that. Onto the subject of weight, because this is something that would really matter if you're planning on using this in a long extended game like Milsim, is that the WE PDW is light owing to its small size. It is light it's really, really compact, maneuverable. You're not going to have any trouble with it, you know, using it for long periods of time. However, due to its all metal construction, it has that sort of, it's light but it has that weightiness to it. You know this is a solid external body that is not going to sort of break apart or fall to pieces on you. You know, shooting the gun itself, solidly built, everything's tight, apart from, you know, I mean, the rattling mostly came from the sling mount. One thing I did notice was that the outer barrel, the two screws, the two hex key screws inside here, weren't that tight. So you had a bit of barrel wobble, which I'll show you later in a video I took earlier on. But overall, it's completely solid. You're gonna love it. Another thing to note about the gun is it's got a very sort of smooth bolt cycle, you know. It's got very sort of like, just, there's no delay, there's no sort of, there's no juttering, and the gun's got minimal lube right now as well, as I've just used it in the game, so I'm probably going to have to sort of re-oil it a bit. But overall, it's very fine. And the firing itself is very quick, very sharp, you know. And we'll see that soon later when I do the firing test. And on to the Chrono. For this test, I will be using WE .25 BBs, though I actually personally recommend, if you have a GBB, to use nothing, only 2.8 and above for wind. And for my gas, I'll be using Airsoft Surgeon Green Gas by RWA. Also known as propane. Don't tell them I said that. Right, I hope I don't fuck up the angle here. Ah, damn it. .392, 394, 401, bloody hell. Back to 392, 380. Well, you can see that this probably isn't going to be a CQB gun, despite obviously anatomically being absolutely perfect for it. And why do WE guns have such power? The simple fact is that WETech is from Taiwan, and their legal power limits are far in excess of most gun restrictive countries. Obviously, if you're American, this shouldn't really matter to you because you have guns everywhere. Who cares what an airsoft gun powerful as? But yeah, don't recommend this using in CQB, obviously. But outdoors, in jungle, like where I live, yeah, it's going to be fine. And on to the actual firing test. The PDW works basically based on the M4 system, but for those of you who are not familiar with it, you basically insert the mag, switch it to semi, pull the charging handle, and then you're off to go as well. So this is it. I'll fire around several single shots and then empty the rest of the mag on full auto, just so you can get a look. Alright, so I pose on, targets in front of me. First few rounds. Oops, target fell over. Mag's empty, chamber's clear.
It's recording.
As you can tell, the short bolt travel distance offers the PDW a blistering rate of fire, even when looking at slow motion here. Also take note of the wobbling front barrel. However, this can easily be remedied by tightening the two hex screws on the bottom. Gameplay wise, the PDW's small size makes it ideal for enclosed spaces like this trench. Its fast fire, it also means you can quickly make follow-up shots in a sort of pop-up and shoot situation.
Got one!
The hop-up itself actually performs very well over range. In addition, its higher power means that this gun can compete with longer rifles in an extended firefight scenario. Though, as you noticed with the Chrono earlier on, it's best probably to fire this in single fire, as the temperature variations during the day could cause the power to fluctuate wildly.
And now, on to accessories. I'm sure some of you have been wondering why I've been conducting a review of a gun when it isn't in its stock configuration. And I figured every other reviewer does that. Why don't I actually review a gun that I've actually actively skirmished with and customized to my own taste? For the foregrip, I've used a replica, because I'm poor, replica Strike Industries Cobra Tactical foregrip. I find this actually offers a bit more advantage over the contemporary Magpul foregrips, mainly in the form of this angled sort of thumb guard right over here, which if you, I take my charger as an example, if you're leaning against the ledge, you can just pin this up and lean forward, and it will actually provide a fairly stable firing platform just over here. Right, onto the barrel. I am currently using an amplifier, a cheap Chinese Noveski copied amplifier that I got from Shumshui Po. Well, it's actually a compensator, it's not designed to be an amplifier, but I've used it mainly because I buy a gas blowback gun to sound and feel realistic, and the only way you can make it sound realistic is making it as loud as possible. Obviously it'll never be as loud as a real gun, I know that, but hey, it's quite intimidating and you get a really nice fine pop 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 sound. For my sights, I'm just using a simple red dot. Open as bare bones as possible. You know, this is a gun that's either going to be used for short range or you're not, and being an airsoft gun, you really don't need a scope unless you're properly sniping. You know, just something simple, but zero your sights, alright? I don't know what it's like around the other parts of the world, but people in Hong Kong don't zero their airsoft guns. Some of them spend thousands of Hong Kong dollars on genuine EMGs, and they don't zero it. It's ridiculous. You know, a sight is your main aiming point. You have to make sure the BBs are, the bullets or whatever, I suppose this even applies to real guns if we had any, you know, the bullets have to hit where the reticle is. Otherwise, you don't need it. You might as well just be using iron sights or just, you know, saying Allah Akbar and just blind fire. Zero your sights. It's not hard. There are plenty of tutorials on the internet, alright? Come on. So I was halfway through editing this video and I realised I never actually filmed an outro, so here we go. So yes, in conclusion, the WE PDW is an excellent weapon, well, airsoft gun, for the price that it was given. It is small, it's compact, it's still relatively powerful and can match up to guns outdoors, and it is very usable. It's got a ridiculous rate of fire, it's got a sharp trigger response. Basically, of all the GBBs, this probably ranks as one of the best, which is quite interesting because the gun is actually quite old. I believe it was released in 2013 or was it 2010? I don't know, one of the two. Research it yourself. So yes, it's currently ranks as one of my best purchases in quite a while, and I will be using this quite extensively in the future, I think. Anyway, thanks for enduring through this video. Hope you found it useful, and I'll probably post more sometime in the future. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye bye.